The unexpected allies. High Admiral Silara Vix stood on the observation deck of the luminous Resolve, flagship of the Galactic Alliance. Her 4 arms were folded across her ceremonial armor as she gazed at the remnants of the once mighty Varaxian battle fleet, now drifting as debris through the Helios system. The iridescent membranes on her elongated head pulsed with the soft blue glow of satisfaction, a rare emotion after 15 brutal years of war. "Send the signal to all Alliance vessels," she said to her second-in-command, Commander Thizel. "The Varaxian surrender is complete and unconditional." Thizel's compound eyes reflected the starlight as he nodded, his exoskeleton clicking softly as he moved. "After 15 years, it's difficult to believe it's finally over, Admiral." "Believe it," Silara replied, turning from the viewport. "The formal treaty signing begins in 6 hours. The diplomats are already preparing the ceremonial chamber." She allowed herself a small smile. "We've won, Commander. The darkness has been pushed back. And the humans never arrived." Thizel added with a distinctive chirp that indicated amusement among his species. Silara's skin rippled with a pattern that signified resignation. "They promised to join the Alliance. What? 3 years ago. Said their fleet would arrive any day now." "That's humanity for you," Thizel responded. "All promises, little delivery." Their ambassador claimed they were mobilizing their planetary resources, or some such excuse. "It doesn't matter now." Silara waved a dismissive hand. "We've prevailed without them. From what I've heard, humans are nothing but trouble anyway." The communications officer, a slender Aquilian named Vesh, whose transparent skin revealed the complex network of neural pathways in her brain, suddenly straightened at her console. "Admiral, multiple wormhole signatures detected at the edge of the system." "The Varaxians." Silara's hand instinctively moved to her sidearm. "Are they breaking the surrender already?" "No, Admiral," Vesh replied, her voice dropping to a whisper. "The signatures. They're not in our database. The ships are broadcasting identification codes identifying themselves as Earth vessels." "Earth?" Silara's membranes flashed crimson with surprise. "The humans have arrived? Now?" The main view screen activated to show the outer reaches of the system. One by one, hundreds of ships began emerging from artificial wormholes, angular, asymmetrical vessels that looked fundamentally different from the sleek, organic designs favored by Alliance engineers. Each ship bristled with what were clearly weapon systems, though of configurations Silara had never encountered before. "They're hailing us, Admiral," Vesh reported. Silara straightened her uniform and composed herself. "Put them through." The view screen flickered, and the image of a human appeared. The being had dark brown skin, closely cropped black hair, and wore what appeared to be a military uniform adorned with symbols of rank. "Greetings, Admiral Vix," the human said with surprising warmth. "Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Sorry we're late to the party. Fabricating a space fleet from scratch took longer than anticipated. Hope we didn't miss anything important." Silara stared at the human in disbelief. "Captain Chen, the war is over. The Varaxian Empire surrendered approximately 2 hours ago." There was a moment of silence before Captain Chen responded. "Well, that's awkward. We brought our entire fleet and everything." She turned to speak to someone off-screen. "Lieutenant Hayes, inform the fleet that we apparently missed the war. Stand down to alert level 3. "You're 3 years late," Silara couldn't help adding, her membranes pulsing with irritation. 3 years. Chen repeated, looking genuinely confused. "That doesn't track with our records. We received your Alliance's distress signal roughly 18 months ago. Had to build the fleet from scratch, of course. Can't go to war unprepared. You built this fleet." Thizel interjected, unable to contain himself. "All of these ships in 18 months. "More like 14 months, Chen replied with a casual shrug. "The first 4 were spent figuring out how to adapt the propulsion schematics you sent us. Earth wasn't exactly a spacefaring civilization before your message arrived." "Well, Not beyond our own solar system, anyway. We had to solve the whole faster-than-light problem first, which was quite the challenge. Celera felt as though she'd been struck. "You're telling me that your species went from a pre-FTL civilization to..." She gestured at the screen showing the massive human fleet. "This in less than 2 years. When you put it that way, it does sound rather impressive," Chen acknowledged with a slight smile. "But honestly, once our engineers decoded the technical specifications embedded in your communication protocols, it was just a matter of industrial scaling. Humans are quite good at mass production when properly motivated." Celera exchanged a bewildered look with Thizzle. "Captain Chen, the technical package we sent contained only basic communication protocols. We didn't include any weapons or propulsion technology." Chen's expression shifted to one of mild surprise. "Really? Our analysts found quantum entanglement patterns in the subspace carrier wave. The math was elegant, allowed us to reverse engineer principles of dimensional folding. Quite the breakthrough, actually." "There was no quantum entanglement encoding in our message," Celera said, her voice weak with disbelief. "Interesting," Chen replied, looking thoughtful. "Perhaps it was an unintentional byproduct of your transmission method. Our quantum physicists have theorized that information can sometimes be accidentally encoded in the fabric of subspace itself. Regardless, we're here now and ready to help. Although I suppose the Voraxians are no longer a problem." Before Celera could respond, Vesh called out urgently, "Admiral, emergency transmission from the treaty preparation site." "Put it through," Celera ordered. The view screen split, with Chen on one side and the panicked face of Alliance diplomat Orin on the other. "Admiral," the diplomat cried, his normally luminous facial ridges dulled with fear. "The Voraxian delegation just received reports about a new fleet's arrival. They're calling it a violation of the pre-treaty terms and are threatening to resume hostilities." "That's absurd," Celera protested. "The humans aren't even part of the Alliance yet." "Tell that to Emperor Krozek," Orin replied. "He's demanding to speak with you and the human leader immediately." "Well, this is getting interesting," Chen commented, looking far too calm for Celera's comfort. "Put the Emperor through," Celera said, feeling a tension headache building behind her sensory membranes. The view screen divided again, and the imposing figure of Voraxian Emperor Krozak appeared. 3 meters of armored reptilian fury with bioluminescent threat patterns pulsing across his scaled skin. His multifaceted eyes glowed with barely contained rage. "Admiral Vix," Krozak snarled, revealing rows of serrated teeth. "Explain this treachery. You bring a new military force into this system after we have already negotiated surrender terms." "Emperor Krozak," Celera began carefully, "I assure you this is merely an unfortunate coincidence. The human fleet..." "Hello there," Chen interrupted cheerfully, waving at the Voraxian leader. "You must be the big bad we've heard so much about. I'm Captain Maya Chen, United Earth Defense Force. Love the intimidating reptilian aesthetic. Very impressive." Krozak's eyes widened with indignation. "Who is this insolent creature?" "Captain Maya Chen. As I just said," Chen replied before Celera could intervene. "I've just arrived with approximately..." She paused to check something off-screen. 843 warships. Sorry we missed all the excitement." 843. Krozak hissed. "The entire Alliance fleet barely numbers 500. "Well, we might have gone a bit overboard," Chen admitted, rubbing the back of her neck. "First Interstellar War and all that. Wanted to make a proper entrance." Krozak turned his burning gaze back to Celera. "You claimed the Alliance had no more reserves. That is why we agreed to surrender." "We didn't," Celera protested. "The humans aren't. They just arrived. They're not even officially members of the Alliance yet." "So you admit they are joining you?" Krozak snarled. "The surrender is void. We will not bow to new threats that emerge after terms are agreed upon." "Now hold on just a minute," Chen interjected, her demeanor suddenly serious. "From what I understand, Your empire has been terrorizing this galaxy for 15 years. You've destroyed entire civilizations, enslaved billions, and generally been the neighborhood bully. And you surrendered because you got beat fair and square. Is that about right? Krozik bristled, his threat displays intensifying. The Varaxian Empire does not. Simple yes or no question, Emperor, Chen interrupted. Silara watched in astonishment as Krozik fell silent. No one interrupted the Emperor of the Varaxians. No one. Yes, Krozik finally said, his voice dripping with venom. We surrendered to the Alliance forces as they existed at the time of negotiation. Perfect, Chen said, her tone brightening. Then this shouldn't be a problem. We're just here to introduce ourselves to our new galactic neighbors. No harm in that, right? Unless, of course, you're planning to go back on your word, which doesn't seem like a great look for a mighty empire with a reputation to maintain. Krozek's scales darkened, and Silara recognized it as the Varaxian equivalent of embarrassment. The Varaxians do not break their word once given, he growled. But this fundamentally changes the balance of power. Not really, Chen shrugged. You already lost. We're just the latecomers who missed the party. She paused, and Silara could have sworn the temperature on the bridge dropped several degrees. But if you're looking to start trouble, I should warn you that humans really don't appreciate bullies, and we came prepared for a fight. A tense silence filled all three ends of the communication. Silara held her breath, acutely aware that 15 years of war and trillions of lives might hang in the balance of this moment. Finally, Krozek's posture shifted slightly. The Varaxian Empire will honor the surrender as agreed, he said stiffly. But we demand that the human fleet remain at the edge of the system during the treaty signing. Works for me, Chen agreed amiably. My crew could use some downtime anyway. Some of them are suggesting we have a fleet-wide barbecue. Apparently it involves cooking food with actual fire, which sounds delightfully primitive but fun. Emperor Krozik cut the communication without another word. Silara stared at Captain Chen, who was now checking something on a datapad, as if nothing extraordinary had happened. Do you have any idea what you just did? She asked. Helped solidify a peace treaty. Chen suggested innocently. You nearly restarted a war that claimed billions of lives. But I didn't, Chen pointed out. And now the Emperor is even more eager to sign that treaty, isn't he? You're welcome, by the way. Silara's membranes pulsed with rapid flashes of blue and red, a sign of extreme agitation among her species. Captain Chen, I believe we need to have a very long conversation about diplomatic protocols and the proper way to announce your presence in Alliance space. Looking forward to it, Chen replied. But first, any chance you could direct us to the nearest refueling station? These ships consume antimatter like you wouldn't believe. Antimatter? Thizzle exclaimed, his exoskeleton rattling with alarm. Your ships run on antimatter. That's incredibly unstable and inefficient. Is it? Chen looked surprised. Well, it was the best we could manage in the time frame. Our next generation of ships will probably use something more elegant. The engineers are already talking about something involving pocket dimensions and quantum folding. I don't really understand the science myself. Silara felt her headache intensify. Captain, please have your fleet maintain position. I'll send a diplomatic shuttle to bring you aboard so we can discuss everything in detail. Sounds great, Chen said cheerfully. Should I bring gifts? We brought gifts. Nothing says, sorry we missed your interstellar war, like a good bottle of bourbon. Am I right? As the communication ended, Silara turned to Thizzle, her expression grave. I have a terrible feeling that the war with the Varaxians might have been the easy part. Thizzle nodded solemnly. Admiral, do you think the humans really built all those ships in just 18 months? Silara looked back at the view screen where the human vessels continued to emerge from wormholes. They were functional, asymmetrical, and clearly designed with utility over aesthetics. But there were so many of them. and the casual way Chen had mentioned antimatter propulsion and dimensional technology. "I think, Commander," Solara said slowly, "that we might have inadvertently awakened something far more dangerous than the Voraxian Empire could ever be." "Admiral, a species that can advance from planetary confinement to building an interstellar armada in less than 2 years isn't just resourceful," Solara explained. "There's something else entirely." As if on cue, another transmission came through. It was Captain Chen again. "Hey, quick question," the human said, looking slightly embarrassed. "Where exactly are we supposed to park all these ships? And completely unrelated, but is there any chance your species enjoys something called karaoke? My crews are getting restless, and when humans get bored, well, let's just say it's better for everyone if we find them some entertainment." Solara stared at the view screen, a sense of foreboding washing over her. The war was over, but something told her the galaxy's troubles were just beginning. Humanity's edge. The diplomatic shuttle docked with the luminous Resolve 3 hours later. Admiral Solara waited in the main reception chamber, flanked by Commander Thizzle and a security detail that she had doubled at the last minute. She wasn't taking any chances with these humans. When the airlock cycled open, Solara wasn't prepared for the sheer diversity of the delegation that emerged. Captain Chen led the procession, followed by 7 other humans of varying heights, builds, skin tones, and facial features. Though clearly the same species, each looked remarkably different from the others, a level of phenotypic variation rare among advanced civilizations. "Admiral Vix," Chen called out, striding forward with an outstretched hand. "A pleasure to meet you in person. Hope you don't mind I brought some of my senior staff." Everyone was fighting over who got to make first contact. Solara reluctantly extended one of her 4 hands, allowing Chen to grasp it in the human greeting ritual. "Captain, I was expecting a smaller delegation." "Oh, this is positively restrained," Chen laughed. "Had to draw straws back on the flagship. Nearly caused a mutiny." A tall, pale-skinned human with short blonde hair stepped forward. Lieutenant Commander Alexei Volkov, Chief of Operations. He introduced himself with a slight bow. "An honor to meet you, Admiral." Dr. Imani Okafor, Chief Science Officer, added a woman with deep brown skin and intricate braided hair. "Your ship's quantum field architecture is fascinating." Major James Rodriguez, Tactical Officer, nodded, a broad-shouldered man with bronze skin and a stern expression. The introductions continued until Solara's head was spinning with human names and titles. She noticed that each human moved differently, spoke differently, even smelled differently. The diversity within such a narrow biological template was oddly fascinating. "Perhaps we should move to the conference room," Solara suggested when the parade of introductions finally ceased. "We have much to discuss." "Lead the way," Chen agreed cheerfully. "Oh, almost forgot." She reached into a bag one of her entourage was carrying and pulled out a rectangular glass bottle containing an amber liquid. As promised, Kentucky bourbon, aged 15 years, almost as long as your war. Solara accepted the strange gift with puzzlement. "Thank you. This is a beverage, and a damn fine one," Chen confirmed with a nod. "Though maybe check if it's compatible with your biology before drinking. Wouldn't want our first diplomatic exchange to end with a medical emergency." "That would be unfortunate," Solara agreed dryly. "This way, please." As they walked through the corridors of the flagship, Solara noticed how the humans gasped and pointed at every ordinary feature of the ship. They seemed particularly fascinated by the gravitational stabilizers and the bioluminescent guidance systems. "You really weren't a spacefaring species before our message arrived, were you?" she asked Chen quietly. The captain shook her head. "Not beyond our own solar system. We put some people on our moon, established a small Mars colony, sent probes to the outer planets. Nothing fancy. Your distress call changed everything." "It wasn't a distress call," Solara clarified. "It was a formal invitation to join the alliance against a common enemy." Tomato, Chen shrugged. When someone says, "Hey, evil reptilian empire is destroying the galaxy, want to help fight?" we tend to hear urgent distress call. Cultural difference, I guess. They reached the conference room, where Solara had arranged for refreshments suitable for various metabolisms. The humans immediately gravitated toward anything that looked remotely like food, examining each item curiously. "Is this meat?" Major Rodriguez asked, pointing to a pulsating purple cube. "Protein supplement," Fizzle explained. "Synthesized from various amino acids." "Fascinating," Dr. Okafor said, scanning it with a handheld device. "The molecular structure is quite similar to our own protein sources, yet the arrangement is completely novel." Once everyone was seated, Solara activated the room's holographic display. "Now, Captain Chen, I believe we need to discuss your unexpected arrival and what it means for Alliance-Earth relations going forward." "Sure thing," Chen nodded, leaning back in her chair. "Though I'm more interested in these Voraxians. Tell me about them." Solara blinked all four of her eyes in rapid succession. "The Voraxians. They have been the scourge of the galaxy for generations. Their empire expanded through brutal conquest, enslaving entire species, stripping planets of resources, leaving nothing but devastation in their wake." "Classic villain stuff," Chen nodded. "And you folks have been fighting them for 15 years. 15 years, 2 months, and 6 days, Fizzle interjected. 27 member species of the Alliance united against them. We have lost trillions of lives, hundreds of worlds." "That's rough," Dr. Okafor said, her expression genuinely sympathetic. "Earth has had its share of conflicts, but nothing on that scale." "Which makes your rapid militarization all the more concerning," Solara said pointedly. 800 warships armed with antimatter weapons constructed in 18 months. "You must understand our skepticism." Chen exchanged glances with her team. "Look, Admiral, I'll be straight with you. When we got your message, Earth was divided. Hundreds of nations, thousands of languages, countless conflicting ideologies. But nothing unites humans quite like an external threat." "So you're saying the Voraxians united your planet?" Solara asked. "Bingo," Chen snapped her fingers. "Overnight, borders became meaningless. Resources were pooled. The brightest minds from every corner of the globe collaborated without politics getting in the way. It was beautiful, in a facing existential danger kind of way." "That still doesn't explain the technical leap," Fizzle pointed out. "The propulsion systems alone would take decades to develop." Dr. Okafor cleared her throat. "If I may, the subspace carrier wave of your message contained certain quantum signatures. When analyzed at the subatomic level, they revealed principles that our theoretical physicists had only dreamed about. It was like finding the answer key to the universe's hardest test." "There were no quantum signatures in our message," Solara insisted. "Not intentionally, perhaps," Okafor continued. "But the very method of transmission across light years created a sort of quantum echo. Our receivers picked it up by accident. Pure luck." "Really?" Solara felt a chill run down her spine. These humans had advanced their technology by centuries through what amounted to a cosmic coincidence. It seemed impossible, yet the evidence of their achievement was auditing the system right now. "Anyway," Chen said, helping herself to a blue food cube and immediately grimacing at the taste, "the main question is what happens now. We showed up ready to kick some Voraxian tail, but the party's over. So where does Earth fit into this big galactic family of yours?" Before Solara could answer, her communication device buzzed urgently. "Excuse me," she said, stepping away from the table. The message displayed on her screen made her blood run cold. "Problem?" Chen asked, noticing Solara's reaction. "The Voraxian delegation has taken several Alliance diplomats hostage," Solara said grimly. "They're demanding that all human ships leave the system immediately, or they will execute them." The mood in the room shifted instantly. The humans' expressions hardened, their earlier curiosity replaced by something Solara found difficult to interpret, but unmistakably dangerous. So much for honoring the surrender, Chen said, all trace of joviality gone. I need to contact Emperor Krozek, Silura said, moving to the communications terminal. Wait, Lieutenant Commander Volkov raised a hand. Let us handle this. Silura balked. This is an alliance matter. It became an Earth matter the moment they used your people as leverage against us, Volkov countered. Besides, we have extensive experience with hostage situations. What do you propose? Silura asked, skeptical but desperate. Chen leaned forward. Let me talk to the Emperor. I think I can resolve this without bloodshed. Something in Chen's tone made Silura hesitate, but she nodded and activated the communication link. Emperor Krozek's face appeared, his scales flushed dark with anger. Admiral Vix, he hissed. Have the humans begun their withdrawal? Emperor Krozek, Chen cut in before Silura could respond. Maya Chen here. Heard you're having a hostage situation. That's a bold move after surrendering just hours ago. Krozek's eyes narrowed. This does not concern you, human. See, that's where you're wrong, Chen said, her voice deceptively casual. Those diplomats you're holding, they're our new friends, and here's the thing about humans. We're very, very protective of our friends. Empty threats, Krozek sneered. You have no stake in this conflict. Actually, Chen smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. We just established a stake. Right now, in fact. Funny how that works. Chen nodded to Major Rodriguez, who activated a device on his wrist. On the view screen, Krozek suddenly looked up as if hearing something outside the range of the transmission. What is this? The Emperor demanded. What have you done? Nothing yet, Chen replied calmly. But I thought you should know that 43 of our ships just entered stealth mode and repositioned themselves throughout your fleet formation. Each one is carrying what we call a NOVA package, Neutron Oscillation Volatile Accelerator. Nasty little devices. Krozek's scales pulsed with alarm patterns. You're bluffing. Our sensors would have detected your ships. Dr. Okafor stepped forward. Actually, we adapted our stealth technology from studying your subspace communications. It's a fascinating application of phase-shifted quantum fields. Your sensors are calibrated to detect standard mass displacements, but our ships briefly exist in a parallel dimensional state. Silura stared at the human scientist in shock. Such technology was theoretical at best, even among the most advanced Alliance species. I don't believe you, Krozek said, but his voice lacked conviction. Chen shrugged. That's your prerogative. But before you make any rash decisions, you should know that our ships are programmed to detonate their NOVA packages if any harm comes to the Alliance diplomats. She paused meaningfully. And unlike you, Emperor, we haven't formally signed any peace treaties yet. The implication hung in the air like a blade. This is barbaric, Krozek growled. Using such weapons, says the leader who took diplomats hostage, Chen countered. Here's my offer. Release the hostages, proceed with the treaty signing as planned, and my fleet will maintain position at the edge of the system as originally agreed. Everyone wins. And if I refuse? Chen's expression didn't change. Then you'll get to test your theory about whether we're bluffing or not. I don't recommend it. A tense silence filled the room. Silura held her breath, watching the Voraxian Emperor's face as he calculated his options. You have 1 hour to release the diplomats, Chen added. After that, things get complicated. With a final glare of hatred, Krozek cut the transmission. Silura turned to Chen, her membranes pulsing with a mix of horror and admiration. Do you actually have ships with these NOVA devices positioned within their fleet? Chen exchanged glances with her officers, and then to Silura's surprise, she started laughing. No, of course not. We can't phase shift our ships into parallel dimensions. That's centuries beyond our technology. And we definitely don't have 43 ships with planet-killing weapons. Then what? Silura began. We have 2 shuttlecraft with modified engine signatures and a lot of audacity, Major Rodriguez explained with a grim smile. We launched them during our approach, programmed to emit radiation patterns similar to antimatter containment fields. It's a bluff, Solera realized. It's psychology, Chen corrected. Humans have been fighting each other for millennia. We've learned that perception is often more important than reality in conflict resolution. But the quantum field technology that Dr. Okafor described, pure science fiction, Okafor admitted, but based on enough actual quantum theory to sound plausible to someone who doesn't understand human science. I doubt the Emperor has a doctorate in quantum mechanics. Solera was speechless. The humans hadn't threatened the Varaxians with superior technology. They had weaponized the Varaxians' fear of the unknown. You can't possibly know if this will work, Thazol protested. Actually, we have a pretty good idea, Lieutenant Commander Volkov said. Before we entered this system, we studied every bit of data the Alliance had on Varaxian culture and psychology. Their species evolved as ambush predators. They attack when they're certain of victory and retreat when faced with unpredictable threats. That's why they waited 15 years to surrender, Chen added. They were absolutely certain about the Alliance's capabilities and limitations. But us? We're a complete unknown. And nothing terrifies a calculating predator more than variables they can't account for. Solera's communication device chimed. She checked the message and looked up in astonishment. The hostages have been released. The Varaxians are requesting that the treaty signing proceed as scheduled. Chen smiled. And there you have it. You risked the lives of those diplomats on a psychological gamble, Solera said, her voice a mixture of awe and horror. With all due respect, Admiral, Chen replied, suddenly serious. Those lives were already at risk. We simply changed the equation in our favor without firing a single shot. She paused. That's something you should understand about humans. We don't always need superior firepower to win. Sometimes we just need to be unpredictable. As the humans began discussing the details of the treaty ceremony with Thezol, Solera stepped back and observed them with new eyes. In less than a day, these newcomers to the galactic stage had nearly caused a war, then prevented one, all without deploying their actual military capabilities. Captain Chen, she said quietly, pulling the human aside. I think I owe you an apology. I underestimated your species. Chen smiled, but this time the expression reached her eyes. Most people do, Admiral. It's kind of our secret weapon. I'm beginning to see that, Solera admitted. Tell me honestly, how much of what you've told us about Earth and your technology is actually true? Most of it, Chen replied. We really did go from a pre-FTL civilization to building this fleet in 18 months. We really did reverse engineer principles from your subspace transmissions, and we really are eager to join the galactic community. And the rest? Chen's smile turned enigmatic. The rest is for the Varaxians to worry about, not our allies. I think keeping a few mysteries is in everyone's best interest, don't you? Before Solera could respond, her communication device chimed again. It was a message from Galactic Alliance Central Command, requesting an immediate report on the human fleet and capabilities. Solera looked at the message, then at the humans chatting amiably with her officers, sharing stories, and building bridges between their worlds. With a decisive gesture, she marked the message as pending review and put the device away. Some reports could wait. Right now, she had a peace treaty to oversee and new allies to welcome. Allies who had just demonstrated that the galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place. Come, Captain, she said, extending a hand to Chen. Let's go make history together. As they walked toward the shuttle bay, Solera couldn't help but wonder what other surprises these humans might have in store. One thing was certain, the age of predictable galactic politics was over. The humans had arrived late to the war, but they were right on time for the future.